What's up, everybody? Birdkill here, bringing you a recap of Week 3 on how I did, and I'm going to bring you my picks for Week 4. Start off this week, in the recap, we had the Dolphins traveling to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. I took the Jaguars to win this game, and I was incorrect. The Dolphins came in and got a win, so good on them. Ryan Fitzpatrick actually looked like a pretty decent quarterback, and the Jaguars just couldn't get anything going. So I started off 0-1. Up next, we had the 49ers in New York taking on the Giants. Both these teams are pretty hurt. I still thought, no, it doesn't matter the injuries, the San Francisco 49ers are too much of a... They're way better than the Giants, and I thought the 49ers would get a win, and I got that one right. So 1-1. Up next, we had the Texans at Pittsburgh. I thought the Steelers would win this pretty easily, and it was a good game. It was a good game throughout the game. Texans had a lead, but the Steelers were able to pull it out and get the win, start off 3-0. So I am 2-1. Up next, we had the Bengals at Philly. I thought Philly would start getting things going here and get a win, but as I'm sure everybody knows, this game ended up being a tie. So I didn't get a win, didn't get a loss, so that would put me at 2-1-1. Up next, we had the Raiders at the Patriots. Raiders 2-0. Patriots just came off a loss to Seattle. I still went with New England. I think the Raiders are a little bit of a fluke team so far this year. And I thought the Patriots would win this game, and I got it right. So that's 3-1-1. Up next, we had the Titans traveling to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. I thought this would be a little bit closer of a game. I thought the Vikings would play a little bit better, and they did. But in the end, I thought the Titans would win, and I got that right. Up next was the Washington football team at Cleveland. Not a big fan of the Washington football team. I don't think they're very good. They're not well coached. I don't care about what anybody has to say about Ron Rivera. He had a lot of talent in Carolina. He just doesn't have that here on the Washington football team, other than the defensive line, which is stacked with a bunch of talent. Chase Young did go down with an injury, but Cleveland basically was able to completely take control of this game and get a win. So I got a win there. Up next, we had the Rams at Buffalo. I was biased because I'm a Ram fan, so I went Rams, of course. They should have won that game. At the end of that game, that pass interference on that fourth down, it wasn't pass interference. It was a bad call on the refs. But that's football. That's how it goes. That happens every week. In week 1 for the Rams, that pass interference that Jalen Ramsey was able to get on Gallup could be argued that it wasn't necessarily pass interference. But at the same time, in that same game, the interception that Jared Goff threw, he had a hand in his face mask, so that shouldn't have been an interception. There's just a lot of bad calls in every game that changed the outcome. I think refs should be penalized heavily if they make a really bad call, or they need to make some type of change to where you can look back on every play. Not necessarily every play, just game changers like an interception, that pass interference against the Cowboys, this pass interference against the Bills. But I expected this to be a really good game. Rams were getting crushed. They came all the way back and then fell short. Good on Buffalo to get a win against my team. So lost that one. Right here we had the Bears at the Atlanta Falcons. I expected the Falcons to come back and win. I didn't believe in Mitch Trubisky, and guess what? He got benched. And Nick Foles comes out, who I also don't think is a very good quarterback. He's had some pretty good runs with the Eagles, but that's about it. Everywhere else he's gone, he is out the door pretty quick. He played for the Rams for a short period of time before he was benched. He did the same thing with Jacksonville, got a big contract, and then Minshew Mania beat him out. So he's got the starting job now, and he was able to do the same thing the Cowboys were able to do against the Falcons, which is come back from a huge deficit and win the game. Falcons got to do something, man. They're in big trouble. I don't know how that head coach isn't fired yet, but Bears get a win. I take a loss. Up next, we have the Panthers at the Chargers. I went with the Chargers just because Teddy Bridgewater. I still am not a Teddy Bridgewater believer. I don't think he's a starting caliber quarterback in this league. He's not surrounded by a whole lot of really good. He's not surrounded by a really good team. Christian McCaffrey's out, so this is actually kind of a shocking win for me. But you know, you got a rookie in there for Los Angeles Chargers, so I went with Chargers. Carolina wins. I take a loss. Up next, we had the Jets and the Colts. I thought the Colts would, this was a layup. I thought the Colts would beat them pretty easily, and they got the job done. Darnold threw, I think, 3 interceptions. Just didn't have a good game, and Indianapolis got the win. Up next, we had the Lions at Arizona. I went with the underdog here. I took the Lions just because the Cardinals are in my division, and I thought this was kind of a trap game for them. And I got lucky. I was right. It was a close game, but the Lions were able to eke out a win. And so that's a big Lions win and a win for me. Up next, we had the Cowboys at the Seahawks. Both these defenses are just atrocious. Their offense, though, can put up points. I think you know, both these teams have had the luxury of playing really bad defenses. Both of them played Atlanta. Now they're playing each other. Both of these defenses are just really bad. Seahawks played against New England, they have no pass rush. Without a pass rush, I don't care how good you are. Stephen Gilmore is still the best defensive back in the game right now, but when you have no pass rush and you got to cover those guys for as long as they're having to cover, guys are going to get open. So this was a lot of passing yards, a lot of points, a lot of fantasy points, but I went with Seattle because I'm not going to go against Russ, and I got a win here. Up next, we had the Buccaneers at Denver taking on the Broncos. I expected the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to get things rolling, start winning some games, especially considering the quarterback change for the Broncos. They ended up putting in Ripien. He didn't fare that well, and Denver got a loss. Tampa Bay easily won that game, so I get a win, and so does the GOAT, Tom Brady. Up next, you had the Green Bay Packers at New Orleans. This was a little bit tougher game. I knew it'd be a shootout. There'd be a lot of points scored. I thought this was a trap game, though, because I think a lot of people are doubting the Saints now that that they lost to the Raiders in Week 2, and they didn't look great in Week 1. They came in, they played well, but Green Bay just honestly looks really good. Aaron Rodgers is proving that Green Bay made a mistake in trying to draft his soon-to-be replacement. The guy's playing high-level football, and he got his team a win here. And the Green Bay Packers stay undefeated, and Saints actually go down to 1-2, which is shocking. Up next, you had the Kansas City Chiefs. So I picked the Saints. I lost that last one. Up next, you had the Chiefs at the Baltimore Ravens. Two really good teams here. I think the Chiefs are just more overall rounded, better team. Their quarterback's better. Lamar Jackson gets a lot of praise because he's constantly running the ball. I think it's easier to run the ball as a quarterback than it is as a running back, obviously. You know, when people drop back in coverage and you're just running, you know, to me that's not very impressive, and plus you're just asking for injuries It happens to every running quarterback. So Lamar Jackson sooner or later is going to go down with a serious injury. Patrick Mahomes kind of had a little bit of that. Last year, I think he went down early in the season and missed a couple weeks because he likes to run. He runs the ball as well, but not nearly as much. Plus, Patrick Mahomes is probably the best throwing quarterback in the league right now. He's up there with Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson. He might even be ahead of both those guys. That's arguable between each person, but I picked the Chiefs. They get a win here over the Ravens. They embarrassed the Ravens. Lamar Jackson couldn't get anything going passing the ball, which doesn't shock me. If he can't run the ball, he's not going to be successful as a passer, and that's just typical for him. All right, up next in week 4. So overall, my record for week 3, I went 10-5-1. Going into the week, I was 23-9. I had a 15-1 week in week 2, so not as good as a week. And my record for the year now is 33-14-1. Hopefully, we can do a little bit better this week. Okay, so Thursday night you have the Broncos at the Jets. Jets are getting Crowder back, so I think that changes some stuff in this game. I think the Jets are able to come away with a win. Ripien, he's a little bit too new for me to really place a bet on him. Melvin Gordon isn't playing high-level football. I know the Jets have a lot of problems protecting Sam Darnold, but when it comes to quarterback play, I just trust Sam Darnold more than I do either of the Denver Broncos quarterbacks, whoever they choose to. They might bench Ripien, but I'm going Jets. Jets at home. Up next, you have the the Arizona Cardinals traveling to Carolina to take on the Panthers. This is a tough game. You have the Cardinals coming in to take on the Panthers. Cardinals just lost to the Lions. The Panthers coming off a pretty big win. Cardinals defense is it's really not that great of a defense, but Panthers on the other side have an atrocious defense. Originally here I was thinking about going with Carolina just because I'm biased and I don't like the Cardinals, but if I'm being realistic, I personally think Arizona is going to be able to get this win. Up next, you have the Baltimore Ravens at the Washington football team. I think this is a layup. Easy win for the Ravens. Not going to go into deep detail with this one just because that's how bad I think this Washington football team is. I'm not sure if Chase Young is going to play, and even if he did, I don't know how much of a difference it makes. Ravens get the win. Up next, you have the Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to Tennessee to take on the Titans. This is a really good game. This game has been postponed for now, either to Monday or Tuesday, as far as I remember. If I'm going to take a guess on who wins this game, though, I'm going with the Steelers. Their defense is playing good. Ben Roethlisberger is back to playing good football. James Conner's looking good. Juju's back to himself. So yeah, I'm going to go with the Steelers on this one. Up next, you have the Los Angeles Chargers traveling to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. No Melvin Ingram in this, so it's just Joey. No Derwin James. I think the Tampa Bay, even though Tom Brady's not playing at an amazing level, I think he's going to start getting things going. And Tampa Bay's already 2-1. They're starting to get those wins. That's going to build confidence. They have a really good defense. I don't trust Herbert against the Bucks. They have Shaquille Ndamukong Suh coming after him, and they got some pretty good linebackers in White and Levante David, who's probably one of the most underrated linebackers in the game today. So I'm going with the home team, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, for the win. Up next, you have the Seattle Seahawks traveling to Miami to take on the Dolphins. I don't care if the Seahawks are traveling. The Dolphins just aren't on the same level as the Seahawks. The Dolphins will put up points. They'll score. But Russell Wilson's going to do his magical thing, close his eyes, throw a ball up 50 yards, and it's going to be caught. Seahawks are going to win this game. Up next, you have the Colts traveling to Chicago to take on the Bears. Nick Foles, I'm not a believer in Nick Foles. The Bears shouldn't have won that last game. That's bad coaching by Atlanta. We're all pretty used to seeing that. Yeah, this is going to be a interesting game to see if Philip Rivers can come out and perform at the same level, and that Indianapolis defense. If they can come out and perform at that same level, they're going to get a win here. And I'm going to go with the Colts over Nick Foles' Bears. Up next, you have the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. This is a poopy game to pick. Neither team are that good. The Bengals are improving. They got a tie, so that's something. And it seems like Joe Burrow is starting to get a little bit more comfortable. Joe Mixon still hasn't had a game yet. Just waiting for that to happen. Jaguars, on the other hand, their rookie running back Robinson's looking pretty good. Minshew's he didn't play well against Miami. It was an ugly game. Bengals. This is just a really tough game to guess. Yeah, I'm going to change my answer. I'm going to go with the home team. I think Joe Burrow gets his first win, and they beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. Up next, you have the Cleveland Browns traveling to take on the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys look great on paper because of their offense and what they're doing. But they are playing, other than the Rams in week 1, they have had back-to-back weeks where they've played terrible defenses in the Atlanta Falcons and the Seattle Seahawks. So they've looked great on offense. Their defense is just terrible, though. So for me, the Cleveland Browns, on the other hand, they look pretty good on defense. Even if Tyron Smith plays in this game, good luck. Myles Garrett is a freak of nature, and he's going to get the Dak, and he's going to make Dak throw dumb passes. Cleveland's got better backfield than those last two teams as well. But offensively, it's the Browns' offense versus the Cowboys' defense that has me going Cleveland here. And, you know, Jarvis Landry, Hayden Hurst, Odell Beckham Jr., Nick Chubb, and Kareem Hunt. I just don't see the Cowboys stopping the Browns. Again, this might be a really high-scoring game, back and forth all game long, but I think Cleveland gets the win over Cowboys. I know that's not going to be very popular, but that's just my opinion. Up next, you have the Saints taking on the Detroit Lions in Detroit. Even though the Saints are 1-2 and they've lost 2 games in a row, let's not be mistaken here. The Saints are still a playoff team. They're still a really good team. They're going to get their ball rolling. They scored a lot of points against Green Bay, and Green Bay have a really good defense. So now they're playing the Lions, who are by far a less team. I think Saints going to Detroit and make a point. They're going to win by a lot. That's my personal opinion. I hope they get things going. Up next, you have the Minnesota Vikings traveling to take on the Houston Texans. This is a tough game to guess. Neither of these teams are what we expected. Both of them are 0-3. I knew the Vikings would struggle just because of their defense, but I wasn't expecting what's going on now. Their offense isn't doing anything. Dalvin Cook's having some games here and there. Kirk Cousins finally had a bounce-back week. Justin Jefferson had a really good game. But the Texans, man, they can't protect Deshaun Watson with Njoku and or Ngakwe, or however you say his name, and Daniil Hunter, if he's playing. Deshaun's gonna be running for his life again. Brandon, they got rid of DeAndre Hopkins for David Johnson. Who can ever understand that trade? I'll never know. But this is a tough game to pick. But I went with Minnesota. Hoping Thielen has a good game. So yeah, Minnesota Vikings. Up next, you have the New York Giants traveling to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. I think this is a layup for the Rams. They are much, much better of a team. And the Giants, no Saquon Barkley. I know they got Devontae Freeman, but that doesn't impress me at all. Devontae Freeman hasn't been able to do anything in a long time. Yeah, the Rams are just much, much better of a team than the Giants. I think Daniel Jones makes a lot of mistakes when he's under pressure, and that's a perfect formula for the Rams. They're going to put a lot of pressure on him. Hopefully, Rams get quite a few interceptions. I think this is a definite win for the Rams, but this could be a trap game because the Rams are definitely going to be overlooking the New York Giants. The Rams should be 3-0 right now. Giants, rightfully so, are winless. So Rams could be coming in overconfident here, and the Giants may be able to pull off a shocking win. I doubt it. I'm going to go with the Rams. Like I said, I'm going to do that every week, though. Up next, you have the Bills at the Raiders. So I think this is going to be a lot closer game than people expect. Buffalo Bills are a really good team. Raiders aren't terrible. They're honestly not terrible, but they're not as good as they've been playing. So I'm going with Buffalo. I'm going with the away team. I think Buffalo comes in, gets a win, start off 4-0 on the season. Up next, you have Cam Newton and the New England Patriots traveling to Kansas City to take on Patrick Mahomes and company. Until the Chiefs lose a game, I'm going to go with the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is doing his thing. He made going up and down the field look easy against a really good Baltimore defense. Patriots don't have that. They have good corners. They've got good defensive backs, but they can't put pressure on the quarterback. If they do that, Patrick Mahomes is going to move out of the pocket. He's going to throw to a guy if he's open, and if not, he's going to run for 5-6 yards and run out of bounds. It's going to be I think it's going to be easy win for the Chiefs. They're going to run the ball. Hilaire has looked great so far early in this season, so I'm going to take the Chiefs at home. Up next, you have the Philadelphia Eagles traveling to San Francisco to take on the 49ers. 49ers are banged up all over the place. I did go with them last week against the Giants, but I do think the Eagles, regardless of the fact that they're not looking good to start this season, they're 0-2-1, but I think the Eagles just possess too much talent to not beat a really banged up San Francisco team. I don't care who San Francisco gets back. They're injured all over the place way too much to keep winning. Nick Mullins is not a great quarterback. He's not going to win you a whole bunch of games. People are saying, I'm seeing posts about Nick Mullins and how much passing yards he's throwing up. If you remember, that's normal. That's pretty normal for teams that are trailing all the time. It wasn't happening last week, but all the previous starts for Nick Mullins was when the 49ers sucked, and he was having to throw to try to get back into the game. It's like the Cowboys. Right now, the Cowboys are putting up a bunch of points, and Dak Prescott's throwing over 400 yards, this, that, and the other. Well, when you're down constantly in the game, you're going to be throwing the ball. You don't want to run that. You don't want to run the clock out, so you're not going to run the ball as much as you are going to throw. So yeah, Nick Mullins, he may have a bunch of passing yards, but if you've watched him play, he's not that good. I think Fletcher Cox is going to get to him a bunch. I think the Eagles, just in general, are going to get to Nick Mullins' bunch and cause a bunch of problems. Eagles get a win here away. And on Monday night, you have the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers, low-key, look like the best team this year so far. Defensively, they're playing good unless they're playing an explosive offense. You know, New Orleans with Alvin Kamara, how do you stop that guy realistically? So, you know, I'm not going to put that against the Packers. You get that guy the ball in open space, no matter what, he's going to make plays. But Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, what he's doing with the core of receivers and tight ends that he's got is amazing. And they have a really good back in Jones. So I'm going Green Bay here for a win. I think the Falcons can put up points, but they just look terrible. They're terribly coached. Yeah, I don't think it's going to go well for them. I think Packers gets the win. So that's the end of week 4. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please subscribe, kabloo-blow that like button, notification bell, and I will see you next Thursday to give you an update on how we're doing. Right now we're 33-14-1. Hopefully that improves this week. We had another off week. But until next time, the Bird Killer is out.